Hello, Mark Turner.
Hello, Megan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good.
Good. It's been
I'm
so
glad
long.
we get to
Yeah.
talk about season 95.
Yes, I'm very excited to ask you. How did season 95 come together? What inspired you this year?
You know, in my letter to the subscribers, I wrote about how seasons are always puzzles, and you put the puzzle pieces together, and then magically, at some point in the process, a puzzle piece no longer fits, or someone takes it away from you. And this puzzle came together, I say quite easily, but I mean, it's a lot of work over a number of years, and it's work that I've been doing, the staff's been doing, musicians have been bringing ideas forward. It doesn't just fall together effortlessly. But weirdly, this season became almost exclusively about the concept of darkness to light. And I think it fell together accidentally, simply, I don't think it was conscious, because we have all these wonderful conductors we work with and podium partners who created programs, and then it accidentally became that thing. But you know, we do have a big work called From Darkness to Light that sort of lands us early in the season onto this path of exploring the thoughts of tension and turmoil and strife, processing towards acceptance, peacefulness, and a state of being. And so weirdly, they all sort of do that. And it wasn't necessarily that we set out to build that puzzle, it's just the puzzle came together that way.
Right, and it's come together very nicely. And are you thinking about going towards year 100 with this as you do your programming? 95 is a big number.
Goodness knows. I mean, like we are actually working on a lot of projects for seasons 99 and 100. You know, a lot of commissions that are in the works right now that we can't yet talk about, but some really exciting composers, some of whom we have great relationships with already, have performed a lot of their works, premiered a lot of their works. Some of whom are nobody knows yet. We've not done them here yet, so that's kind of fun. There are also artists that are, you know, working with us already that we're talking long-term collaborations with and building new shows with and new ideas with, and so this does sort of seem like a great template to keep using. I don't know that it'll always end up darkness to light, but you know, maybe there'll be more circus involved in the future season. It's hard to tell, but I think this season was kind of a major benchmark, and it needed to be because it's our 95th.
Well, and you have lots of homegrown talent, I think, too.
Yeah, we start our fall with like the best homegrown talent. Julia Wedman is one of those artists in Canada who just has set herself apart with her career, and she's from Saskatoon originally. She's such a great Baroque violinist. Tafel music has been her musical home for so long. And we get to do the 300th anniversary of Four Seasons.
Seems like a good reason to do it.
It does seem like a good reason. And she's sort of creating her own show, which I think is really exciting. She said to me one day, I no longer play the Four Seasons.
Oh, okay.
So thank you, Julia. Because she said she'd come and do it for us. But we're not, you know, typically you hear them in order, spring, summer, fall, winter. We're not doing them in that order. She's created her own order. She's created this musical journey, actually, that kind of takes us into the future. So
Okay, so
yeah.
something familiar but different.
Familiar but different, and like, you know, those pieces are. There's a reason why they're still famous 300 years later, because they're so brilliant.
Yeah, so that starts us out in September, and then end of September, we have a special concert.
We do have a special event at the end of September, and I realize also that this one is definitely not darkness to light.
There's darkness in there.
There's darkness, and then it gets darker. I'm really thrilled because, you know, we've just merged with Saskatoon Opera. We've done a lot of work with them over the years. They have a long 40-plus year history of incredible work. You know, Karen Reno's on our staff. She was their ED for decades. Brought so much incredible opera to life, and so we've been looking at how we bring opera into our audience and into the SSO world in a big way. And I don't think we could do it in any bigger way. This is a major partnership with the National Arts Centre, with Edmonton Opera and their Young Artist Program, with the Yukon Arts Centre and with the SSO, and we're thrilled to do the first ever Saskatoon performance of Puccini's Tosca, which, you know, is one of the great operas ever written. But as I say, you know, it doesn't, you know, most good opera either ends in a wedding or a death. Well, this one ends in a couple of deaths. All three lead characters are done by the end of the show. But we're really thrilled. Judith Yan's here to conduct that. I'm so excited. She's conducted Tosca all over the globe, so it's exciting to have her here for that. Joel Ivany is the director. Joel is one of the top Canadian directors of opera. He's got a reputation around the globe, and I'm thrilled that we get to bring this to life with full orchestra.
Yeah.
That's a rarity here. So.
Yeah, so it's semi-staged. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so the orchestra's on stage, and there may well be set, but it won't be a fully staged, so there won't be massive set pieces. The orchestra is the backdrop, and the action all takes place out in the front of the stage with the singers. We still have to figure out a couple of major things, like how we get the chorus to process the Te Deum, which is one of the great musical achievements of Puccini's life. And we also have to figure out how Tosca is going to throw herself from the building. But, we'll figure those things out. We've got time. It's weeks away, months away. It's such a great piece of art that has, over 100 years later is still such a great piece of art. And it catches you off guard with how beautiful Puccini wrote music and how much the characters meant to him musically. So I'm really excited to share it with the audience.
That's going to be wonderful. Then our next concert, October 25th, The Space Between.
The Space Between, yeah. So this is where we came into from darkness to light, and this is kind of the cornerstone to the entire season with Dame Evelyn Glennie coming. And Evelyn is one of the most significant musical artists ever.
Yeah.
She is singular to her instrument. There is no one else who has the profile, the international acclaim, the international performances that Evelyn does as a soloist on percussion. She has had more percussion concertos written for her than any other person, obviously, ever.
Yeah.
And she's profoundly deaf. And she's just written a children's book about that, and I'm hoping maybe we can get her to share some of that book when she's here. And it's such a special experience. It's a big birthday year for her. The piece that she's doing is with Vince Ho. Vincent is a longtime collaborator of the SSO. I think this is his 5th or 6th piece we've done. We just premiered a concerto last year with him. We've got another commission in the works with him, and so I'm so excited because he writes such exciting, thrilling music, and he and Evelyn have worked together so much.
And he wrote this piece for her
He
as well,
wrote this
right?
piece for her, and so his 2 percussion concertos, both for her. And it's just such an incredible opportunity to have like the best in the world come and be part of something here in Saskatoon. And Carl Hertzer is here to conduct that show. They're longtime collaborators as well. They've worked together a lot. He's going to do Shostakovich 5 in the second half, which is one of the great symphonies ever written. And so we explore the idea of liminality in the sense that the subject matter of both pieces is not yet, but no longer. They're in the space between, which is how the name came to be.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
There you go.
And then Carl returns a few weeks later.
A lot of Carl this fall.
Yeah,
We've got a little residency with Carl. He's going to do True North with us. It's a program that we're really thrilled about. Showcasing a swath of Canadian music. He and I have talked about the fact that we are in the golden era of Canadian orchestral music. And so we have, Zosha de Castri's music on this show, and we have Sami Musa's music on this show. These are 2 Canadian composers who might even have more fame out of Canada than they do in Canada. They are exceptional artists. They're played by the biggest orchestras in the world. We've got this great new piece by Sunny Ray Dayrider, who's a Cree composer from Alberta, called The Death Eater for Raga. I cannot wait for that. Carl says he performed it a few weeks ago and he just absolutely was blown away by it, so we're thrilled about that. A piece by the legendary Jean Coulthard, who in the 20th century was one of those musical voices that defined Canadian classical music and defined that Canadian identity, and so a great opportunity to reference her. And then this new concerto by Gary Kulesha, who also, he has been one of those people who's helped define the Canadian voice. And we were one of the co-commissioners on this new concerto. It's written for Bede Hanley, Bede grew up here in Saskatoon. He is now the principal oboist of the Auckland Symphony Orchestra, one of the best symphony orchestras in the Southern Hemisphere. We've been trying to get Bede here for years. It's hard to get someone here from Auckland.
Yeah, a bit of a journey.
Bit of a journey, and not only get him here, but like give him time to get over the jet lag, which that's not something we have to do with most of our artists. You don't have to worry.
Usually, no.
Yeah, they're not literally arriving from tomorrow, but Bede is, and so it's thrilling to be able to give this moment with Bede. He grew up here in this community. He had such an opportunity to work with so many of the musicians on our stage. He has this connection to our town, so I'm thrilled to have him home for this elbows up concert to just showcase how amazing Canadian music is.
Yeah, very timely.
Yeah.
Although not planned this way, but it worked out quite
well.
Yeah.
A little planned this way. We did
Okay.
we actually, it was funny. Carl and I actually had talked about this. There was an entirely different program that was originally going to include a very famous composer's lesser known symphony, but a very famous composer. And we sort of actually went, in this moment, we sort of need more Canada just to stake our claim.
Drive it home. Yeah.
Darn rights.
Then we go into something a little different.
Yeah.
We're doing a new show with National Geographic.
Yes. So National Geographic, Nat Geo has been doing these orchestra shows a little while now, just a couple years, and they have this show called The Secrets of the Whales. If you can watch the full, I think it's 6 or 7 episodes on Disney Plus. This is obviously a condensed version. We're not making you watch 7 hours of symphony.
I mean, I would.
I mean, sure,
that's
that's a
me,
lot.
yeah.
But it's really cool because we get the video, the visuals, and if you've seen the TV show, the visuals are unbelievable. The footage is the best footage of whales I've ever seen in my life, and it comes with the music that was written for that film. And Monica Chen is making her SSO debut conducting it. She's a great young up and coming star here in Canada. It's a great fit for her, and we'll have a surprise narrator. So
Can't wait.
Can't share that detail yet.
Then we move into the holiday season. So we're going to start with a special holiday show.
We do have a special holiday show. We've got, a year, 2 ago, I don't remember. It was a while ago now. We did a show called YXE Divas, which had been in my head for a very, very long time, about showcasing the female vocalists in our city because we have a wealth of them.
Yep.
Across so many genres, even across so many pop genres. And so we did that, I think it was spring 2024.
Yep.
And the vision was always to make this a flexible opportunity, so to showcase the talent we've got right here in town in many different ways. So we've got YXE Divas do Xmas, which seemed fitting. And so in that show, Jana Saylor's back on the podium, which I'm excited about, and she's with us twice next season, which is always awesome to have her home in the city she grew up in. And we've got a few of the divas coming back, a few new divas. There's going to be a lot of opportunity as these divas show moves on to future seasons to showcase different voices, showcase different styles. And so I'm really excited about it. The details, we haven't released all the details yet, so I'm going to hide some of those. We do have a number of new divas that I can say are going to blow people away. Last time, people were like, I had no idea that these people were from Saskatoon.
Or live here.
Or live here and call this place home. I mean, they all live here. And so we're going to have that experience again, which I'm just so thrilled. It's going to be so much fun. The best part about that show was actually backstage, because we had a lot of fun backstage, because all 8 of those divas were just having fun, supporting each other, making each other laugh backstage. And so it's going to be quite the Christmas party.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, and the holidays wouldn't be the holidays without Messiah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It'll be year what,
11, 12?
112 next year, this year for Messiah, yeah. It's Saskatoon's oldest musical tradition.
I think so, yeah.
And, intriguingly, it's the exact same team we had this past year. Carl is back. This was his first Messiah with us. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
Memorable, on all levels. And I say that, I mean, memorable for the audience, but memorable for the soloists and for the chorus and for the orchestra. That doesn't always happen. So that was really wonderful. The lineup of soloists with Casey and Andrea and Spencer and Jaden, they're all back. They did such incredible things. Now, slightly different. We did cuts. You always have to do cuts in Messiah. It's long. You don't want to always have the same.
That's
so
fair, yeah.
Carl made some controversial cuts this past year, and I can say we're already talking about the new cuts and new changes and putting in things that didn't get done this year, but because it should be this living alive thing.
Yeah.
And so even though it's the same team, it'd be a very different program than it was last year, just because of the changes and the phenomenal opportunity to showcase our chorus, which
they're amazing.
Their performance of Messiah, we've heard this from conductors who've come here to conduct Messiah, that we've heard this from people who watch online. We might have the best Messiah chorus in the country. It's
not that we're biased.
Not that we're biased, but it's profound how well they perform this music. So I'm excited to see that again. And then, of course, the sing-along, which is our favorite day of the year.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, the staff have a lot of fun that day. I wish people would come to the sing-along. I know they're hesitant to
You don't have to sing.
You don't have to sing along, but
it's
try
fun.
it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter.
It's a safe space. Yeah.
It is a safe space. Yes, we listen and we don't judge. And because some of us can't sing it well either, right? We're trained musicians.
There's a lot of notes.
It's a lot of notes.
You hit most of them. It's
and
good.
They're very high.
Yes, that is also
some of them,
true.
as a tenor, they're very high. So yeah, but it's like the most fun.
It is
We
a lot of
also we haven't announced it yet, but we're going to have another holiday surprise.
Okay.
So that's in the works. And of course,
keep
we'll
watch,
have Home for the Holidays on December 29th.
Yes.
With all of the vocalists here in town. That's been a long-running tradition at Saskatoon Opera that we're thrilled to continue.
In January, and at the end of January, when the world is cold and we just need something happy, we're doing a special Disney film.
Yeah, it does seem like the right place for Disney, right?
It does, yeah.
It's warm, it's comforting. It's great for kids, because obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also great for us because we grew up on these films, and so it's warm and comforting in the worst, typically the coldest week of the year. It seems like that has been our experience every year with our Disney show in January. And Disney's Beauty and the Beast, arguably one of the best animated films ever made.
Yeah.
You're too young to probably remember when it came out, but I am not. I remember precisely when it came out. And I remember how the instant success of that movie, but also it wasn't just kids who loved that movie. My older sister had the CD of the soundtrack. Because Celine Dion had recorded this, it was this cultural phenomenon in a way that I don't think every Disney movie is these days.
Yeah.
I think Encanto kind of had that same fame, and even the first Moana. But there's lots of Disney movies that come out and are great, but they don't have that
lasting,
cross-cultural success. And Beauty and the Beast was such a moment.
Yeah.
And so to see it live with the film is going to be incredible. Conductor Kevin Zakreski is joining us. This is his SSO debut, but he was actually born in Saskatoon.
Okay, another homecoming.
Another homecoming in this wonderful way. He has so many friends and family here still, but it's really exciting. Kevin has done a lot of work in the orchestral film world. This has become a major part of our industry. And I know there's people out there who go, oh, I don't want to go watch a film with orchestra. Yes, you do actually.
Yeah.
The thing about these films is the soundtracks are exceptional. When you're getting films with the likes of Alan Menken and John Williams and Hans Zimmer, those films, those are some of the best classical composers of the last 50 years. So you actually are getting exceptional music, but you're getting the magic of animation with it that I think is just undeniable. And Kevin has done a lot of work all around the globe with film shows, Zelda, Heroes. He's he brings a wealth of knowledge to this.
Yep.
And Beauty and the Beast, because Kevin and I are the same vintage, Beauty and the Beast was his favorite show when he was little. So
Perfect. He knows it well then.
He does.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really need to study.
Yeah. I always love how some people forget the orchestra is there, and other people focus so much on the orchestra because they don't realize what's actually making the sounds that they're hearing in the soundtrack. So
Exactly.
It's like a learning
And it's
opportunity.
funny because I'll sit in rehearsal and forget the orchestra's there.
Yeah.
And be, oh, wait, this is us. And
Which
then,
is that
yeah,
good.
I do
Yeah.
hear from people all the time, like, I didn't even watch the film.
Yeah.
I watched the orchestra,
Yeah.
which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we move to February, which we're doing a special concert with Constantinople coming
Yeah,
back.
so they've been here. This is about their third time with us. And Constantinople, they're this group out of Montreal originally with Kia Tabessian, who is their genius, brilliant leader. And Kia creates these programs that just have to be heard. And after their last time here, we had so many people saying, when are they back? When are they back?
Yeah.
And for me, I remember seeing Constantinople probably 10 years ago at a conference overseas. And I remember thinking, like, how can these musicians have so much fun together?
Truly. They look like they're having a blast every time. Yeah.
It's so joyful to watch them make music together. And so this new program actually pairs two brilliant artistic prophets. So Chaim, who was a poet in Persia in the 800-900s. I don't have my years right, but and then pairs that poetry and that Persian Baroque music, the place really where Baroque music was born, alongside sacred arias of Johann Sebastian Bach. And even though these two prophets of their art forms never met because they were 700 years apart.
Just a few. Yeah.
There was a distance, 700-800 years apart. This is sort of their opportunity to meet because they sort of complement each other in such incredible ways. So I think that's going to be one of the most incredible, moving concerts of the entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Then we get a little bit romantic for Valentine's Day.
Well, when you have a concert on Valentine's Day, you sort of have to lean into that.
Yeah.
And Judith Yan is back. She's one of our podium partners. She wowed us all this past Valentine's weekend with her astounding retelling of Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty. Who knew that on top of being a brilliant conductor, working around the globe with some of the world's biggest ballets and opera companies, that she should also have a career in comedy.
She should have a whole tour.
Yeah, Judy, this is your time. So she's back, and when we started putting together this show on Valentine's Day, we called it Everything is Romantic because everything is romantic. A couple seasons ago, Angela Cheng was here. She's an audience favorite here in Saskatoon. She's been playing with the symphony for probably 30 plus years. She and Judith got to work together a couple seasons ago. Magic sort of happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They became fast friends in rehearsal, like without even talking, just making music together. And so we knew that we wanted to pair them together again. If you're going to have Valentine's Day, you better do Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto No. 2.
Of course. Yes, one does. Yeah.
You have to. It is, arguably the most romantic piece of music ever written. That's in the second half of the show because it's too romantic to put in the first half.
We need to
It's too
warm
much.
people up.
Yeah,
to it.
you got to pace yourselves. But in the first half, we've got the phenomenal love theme, the Adagio from Spartacus by Aram Khachaturian. It's so good. It's so lush. We've got Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Overture Fantasy. It's the ballet he never wrote but should have. And Judith and I have joked about, will we also have the theme from Love Boat?
Maybe.
Maybe actually. So, it's just, we decided lean into the romance. And, people always want to find something to do on Valentine's. Going out for a supper ahead of the concert, coming to the show.
Going for drinks after.
For drinks after, finding yourself caught up in that romance, I think is going to be a pretty great Valentine's.
Best date night ever, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
I
Yeah.
also really like the tagline is fall in love again and again.
Again
yeah.
and again. Fall again and again and again. Yeah, it's just too much. There's just too much.
Okay, then we move to Spring Fever at the start of March.
Yeah.
With another homecoming of sorts.
With another, well, yeah, I mean, with two Saskatchewan artists. So Tanya Miller is back. She's been a podium partner here with us for years. We absolutely love working with Tanya. She is the pride of Foam Lake. I always introduce her as that because there's always a big Foam Lake contingency in the audience. Yeah, Tanya is just an astounding artist and brilliant conductor who's gone on to international acclaim all around the world. It's funny because she's a longtime friend of many of our musicians, a longtime friend now of the orchestra. She and I are great friends, but it still kind of catches me off guard when she says yes to coming back. I'm just like, you're so brilliant. And so I always get a little choked up when she's like, of course I'm coming home, like of course. And so now so the thing is March 3rd-ish is
7th.
Okay, early in March.
Yes.
It's a bit early for spring.
Yes.
We acknowledge that, but we thought let's build a warm concert, and Tanya had this vision for this great idea around the concerto that we picked, which was the Mozart Bassoon Concerto, the famous Mozart Bassoon Concerto, with our very own Stephanie Unverricht as soloist.
Hooray!
Days after her birthday, so this is like a big birthday party for Steph that we're throwing. She is one of the best musicians that have ever come out of the city. She's an incredible talent, and it's such a thrill to put her center stage for this, and such a fun, like that concerto is so beautiful and so much fun. And so Tanya built this show around this idea of that warmth, and out came Schumann's first symphony, the Spring Symphony.
Perfect.
And we open with some Beethoven. We've got some Vaughan Williams. It just sort of gets you into the mood for warm. Hopefully, maybe next spring, March will be warm.
Sure. Yep. Keep dreaming.
I know. Yeah. I mean, this March has been pretty good. We're pretty good, but hopefully, it'll get us. We'll have something to aim for.
Yes.
After the depths of January and February.
Yeah.
It just seemed to get colder and colder.
We always just need a little hope sprinkled in.
Yeah.
It's part of living here.
Part of living, yeah.
Later in March, we go to night seasons.
We do, and again, it's like I said, this darkness to light, right? So even in Spring Fever, we've got the Beethoven Egmont Overture, which is darkness to light in itself, and Schumann darkness to light. Here we quite literally start in darkness. There's this opportunity sometimes when composers have found their stride, that you can create a relationship with them and do some fun things. And this is one of those situations. We gave the North American premiere of Rebecca Dale's Materna Requiem.
Beautiful, yeah.
Days before the world shut down for the COVID pandemic. It was. Who knew that? I mean, it was deeply profound to begin with, but it ended up being more profound simply because of its timing. And Rebecca came for that experience. She loved it here. We loved her. The audience really responded to the music. She writes brilliant stuff. So we're going to be doing her brand new cello concerto, Night Seasons, that is for cellist. And the cellist in question is Stéphane Tétrault.
Of course.
Who, one of the
also audience favorite.
Truly one of the great Canadian artists, and a dear friend to the SSO. And it's for cello, chorus, and orchestra. So Greystone Singers and Aurora Vace joining us, and you don't often think of a cello concerto having a choir.
No, I can't think of any.
Literally, this is the one. But what Rebecca has done with the music has such an emotional impact, which I think is such a trademark of hers. There's these moments of there's these moments that where she sounds like Verdi or like Carl Jenkins. She doesn't necessarily stay inside one musical palette, although it's all very
cinematic,
romantic and cinematic in scope. But Night Seasons there's something special, and I remember sharing the recording with Stéphane when it first was available to me, and he was blown away by it and couldn't wait. On the podium is Andrew Crust. Andrew made his SSO debut this past in 2024, and the orchestra just instantly loved him. And so we wanted to have him back. So he's coming to lead that program. And on that as well in the second half is Brahms' First Symphony.
Right.
Again, darkness to light. And it has this, Brahms took years, more than a decade, to write his First Symphony. He was well into his career and established, unlike most composers who give it a kick early on. He took time and he only wrote 4 of them, and they're all individual masterpieces, but that first one is profound in what he was able to achieve musically, carrying on the tradition of Mozart and Haydn and Beethoven, but also then setting a new foundation for the future. And so that whole concert again explores quite literally the darkness of night to this phenomenal sunshine of Brahms's concluding movement of that symphony.
It's going to be a moving night, I feel.
It really is going to be, and I mean, that's really why people come to the symphony. They want to feel something. They want music that moves them. And so I think we got that down pat next year.
So the next concert after that came actually out of YXE Divas.
Did.
Yeah.
It did. Sonia Reid.
Yes.
We've got a few actual shows growing out of YXE Divas. Some of the divas are getting their own big shows and things, and some of them already had them. Many of them we'd worked with on shows and things, but now Sonia Reid, she blew everyone away with that Whitney Houston cover in YXE Divas.
Yes.
We're still talking about it.
And her amazing suit.
That incredible iconic suit, and. Even before the show, but backstage that night, I was like, okay, let's build a show. So a change is going to come with Sonia Reid into this night of soul, R&B, gospel. It's sort of got this whole. I think a change is going to come is the perfect title for it, because it's got this whole sense of where people need to hear music. I think there's something about soul music, whether it's gospel leaning or more pop leaning, that is about literally us, what we are to ourselves, our soul.
Right, yeah.
And Sonia does that not only so brilliantly, but vocally. She's a powerhouse in this repertoire.
Yeah.
And so we're creating a whole show around that powerhouse vocals. And Jana Saylor's here to do it all over again with Sonia. The two of them are such great collaborators at YXE Divas. So it's another night, and I mean it's going to blow people away. I don't think we've released the set list just yet, but
Nope.
it's literally everything from hits of the 70s and major gospel hits and R&B hits and Whitney Houston and Aretha. Like, it's just such a great night of feel-good music.
Well, and it's obviously the stuff that she enjoys singing the most,
And
so she's going to exude that. Yeah.
She is the best at it, so we're thrilled.
That's great. Speaking of people having fun together on stage, our next show is called The Traveler.
It is called The Traveler. It's the last show in our Master Series next year, early May, and we paired together 2 best friends because we've recently worked with both of them, and on their own they are incredible musicians at the start. At the bare minimum, they're incredible musicians. But every once in a while you find these artists who are not just incredible musicians and virtuosos at what they do, they also have the ability to connect their art form to something bigger than themselves. A lot of times in my career, I've watched a lot of musicians out there who, it's that they're special. They get to connect to an energy source that the rest of us don't.
Right, yeah.
And then they share that with us.
Yeah.
And so when you have 2 people like that who also accidentally happen to be best friends, it just made good sense. So on the podium is Danuk Wijeratne. Danuk was here a couple years ago for his Tabla Concerto in Scheherazade, and that was such a memorable night of music, but also a memorable week.
Yes.
Because the thing about Danuk is literally everyone who comes into contact with him is all of a sudden part of Danuk's world. And I've never met someone who quite makes you feel so connected so quickly. So he did that with the musicians, with the staff, with like literally backstage people. Like it was just an incredible, he's just a brilliant human.
And the audience, too.
And the audience, they, you know, yeah, there's something very special about him. And paired with him is someone who is incredibly special, and that's Keenan Ahmed. Keenan was here for the first time in 2024 during the, well, it wasn't the worst snowstorm ever.
It was a snowstorm.
It was a snowstorm that the media told you was going to be Snowmageddon, so everybody stayed home. But all the orchestra were there, and we're like, it's not that bad.
The show went on.
The show went on, and Keenan, I mean, you know, he's a multi-Grammy Award winner, sure. He is one of the great clarinetists alive today, yes, but he's also like a brilliant jazz musician. He is a brilliant composer. He is recently a star of a documentary about him. There is rarely a human who is quite so generous of their own spirit. And so the two of them coming together, colliding on stage in that moment, is going to be epic. You know, we haven't released all of the programming for that. They have programmed the whole show to kind of explore this idea. So in the clarinet concerto that Danuk wrote for Keenan, the clarinetist represents the traveler.
Okay.
And it's the idea of travel for migration, travel for being forced out of your home. You know, Keenan's relationship with Syria, he speaks so well about it. But having to find home somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, there's so much of that can resonate with our modern world. You know, Saskatoon is full of newcomers, people who've come here and are finding it home, but also trying to find a sense of home. And so being able to put these two geniuses in one place to do that, I think you know, it has the possibility to be one of those nights that no one will ever forget.
Yeah.
Which you know, every symphony concert's great, sure, but like every once in a while there's something that is so special that it just cannot be replicated. It's that lightning in a bottle, and I think this one's got it.
That spark.
Yeah. Spark of creation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our last concert of the season for 95, Finding Light. So we've made this journey, now we're finding the light.
We're finding the light, and you know, so when Judith Yan's coming to conduct that show, and when we were talking about this show, it's in the Resonance series, it's at Knox, it's smaller, it's Baroque, but modern, and you know, the smaller chamber orchestra. And we talked about, well, what, you know, in this search for light over the course of the season, what could actually be this tale at the end of May? And we're really excited because our very own Katja Kartova and Ali Gazelle, both, you know, wonderful vocalists from here in Saskatoon, Katja's on our staff, are going to be performing, I think, one of the greatest works ever written for the human voice. Pergolesi's Stabat Mater is, you know, it's a masterpiece. Pergolesi died very young, in his early 20s. This is one of the last things he wrote. And when you consider that was the, you know, early 1700s, you sort of forget the fact that, like, it's not written yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so immediate and so advanced for where music was at that time when he was writing it, when he was dying. He was giving us this insight into the future, and giving even modern composers a new color palette to work with, because really no one else picked up these sounds that he was creating in the tension of the harmonies for many years, long after it was written. And it does explore, you know, it is the at the cross for vigil keeping. It's this dark territory of prayer, but it does find itself towards a sense of peace. And so the entire show, that's the centerpiece of the show, but the entire show sort of allows us to move towards this release of tension towards light. And I think that's something that, you know, I don't know whether we'll need it next May, or over the course of an entire year. But right now, we definitely need it. We need to find the places where we can drop our shoulders
Yes.
and
yeah.
like breathe deep and sink
Yeah.
into our chairs and like let go of the tension in all of our muscles.
Yeah.
And so we tried to create music that would over each concert, but over the course of the season, would allow you to let go.
Yep.
And I hope it serves everyone in the way it needs to.
I think it will.
I think it will
really
too.
do, yeah. I think
Yeah.
we're pretty good at that.
It's people. I think you come to concerts because you need to.
Yeah.
It's funny, I still go to concerts because I need to. I need to like experience that music live, and I think in this day and age when you can stay home and watch Netflix, because some of it's really good, some of it's not, but some of
Yes.
it's really profoundly good. If you're going to go out, leave your house, drive downtown,
Find parking.
find parking,
all
get
the
dressed
things,
up,
yeah.
put on the uncomfortable shoes. You need to have an end result. That you need something that makes it worth all of that effort at the end of it. And so that's how we are approaching, everything next season, everything in the seasons moving forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty fantastic season, and I know there's
Yes.
more shows even that we haven't talked
There
about.
is a ton,
But there'll
actually,
be lots of announcements coming out. Some
Yeah.
things are public, some things to come.
Yeah.
So people should just watch our social media and our
They should.
website. But yeah, thank you, Mark, for
Awesome.
talking about this. It's a pleasure always.
Thanks, Megan.